Go to the factors that may shift the demand curve. Whatever factors that will shift the demand curve will be non-pricing factors. So factors that may shift the demand curve. Price is the main factor that affects the quantity demanded. However, there are many other factors and each of them may actually shift the demand curve. Some of the most important factors are summarized below here. So aside price, which will bring about movement along the demand curve, the others that will change, that would make us to want to buy or make us to stop buying are non-pricing factors, and they will shift the demand curve leftward or rightward. So we have advertising, we have demographic changes, we have price of complements, price of substitutes, income. We discussed income in the previous chapter, then fashion and taste. So we're going to start with one at a time. Advertising. Businesses try to influence demand for their products through advertising and other forms of promotion. For example, in the highly competitive soft drink industry, Coca-Cola spent $3.499 billion on advertising in 2014. If goods are advertised more heavily, the quantity demanded is likely to increase. This helps to explain the huge amounts that some businesses, such as Coca-Cola, are prepared to spend on advertising, although it might be difficult to measure the precise impact advertising expenditure has on the quantity demanded. Most would agree that such spending will help to increase demand. An increase in advertising expenditure is likely to shift the demand curve to the right from D1 to D2. So now I have to talk about advertising. When you're talking about advertising, basically advertising helps us to create awareness. It creates awareness about the product or the service. So if you are advertising your product, you're advertising because you want people to know more about your product, to get information, to know more about your product. So in the course of doing this, if that advertising process becomes successful, that means it was effective. It means that people would be able to know more about your product. As a result, the demand for your product should increase. So successful or effective advertisement will shift the demand curve rightward. Do you get it? Yes. So if the advertisement is successful, the demand curve will shift rightward from D1 to D2 because the quantity demanded will increase from Q1 to Q2. Yes. Is it clear? Is it clear, please? Yes. So go to income. Generally, when disposable income rises, demand for goods will also rise. For example, if wages and salaries rise in the economy, people may decide to spend more money going out to restaurants. They may take an extra holiday, or they may buy a new car. These are all normal goods. These are goods for which demand will rise when income rises. Most goods in the economy are normal goods. However, a minority of goods are inferior goods. This means that the quantity demanded will actually fall when income rises. Supermarkets own label brands or public transport may be examples of inferior goods. For example, consumers who generally buy a relatively cheap supermarket's own label brand of baked beans may switch to a more expensive brand when their income rises. Therefore, the quantity demanded for the supermarket's own label brand will fall. This will be shown by a shift in the demand curve to the left from D1 to D2 to D3. Now, let me explain here. For income, as far as your level of income increases, your disposable income will rise. What is disposable income? Disposable income is that income that we can spend or save. What do I call disposable income? The income that we can spend or save. That is disposable income. So as far as your level of income increases, the next thing you think about, those goods that you think about buying when you have more money with you are called normal goods. But the goods that you buy that comes to your mind when you don't have money are called inferior goods. Do you understand the difference between inferior goods and normal goods? Yes. Normal goods are goods that we think about buying when the level of income increases. Inferior goods are the goods we think about buying when our level of income falls. Is it clear? Yes. So if the income level increases, the demand for normal goods will increase, shifting the demand curve rightward because the quantity demanded for normal goods will rise. On the other hand, if your level of income falls, the demand for normal goods will fall. The quantity will shift leftward from Q1 to Q3, shifting the demand curve leftward from D1 to D3. At that point in time, the demand for inferior goods will increase from Q1 to Q2, shifting the demand curve for inferior goods rightward from D1 to D2. Is it clear? Yes. Any question about that? Okay. That is for income level. Okay. So that's for income level. So we'll go to fashion and taste. Are you there? Yes. So for fashion and taste, we're talking about, I'm going to read anyway. Over a period of time, demand patterns change because there are changes in consumer taste and fashion. For example, there has been a rise in demand for T20 cricket games, T20 around the world. In the last 10 years, this is reflected by the attendance at T20 fixtures in many different countries such as India, Australia, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Stadiums are often full for international T20 fixtures. This compares with relatively small crowds at test match fixtures. So T20 cricket has grown in popularity, and increasing numbers of cricket fans find the style appealing. The clothes industry is influenced strongly by changes in fashion. In many countries, there are various buying seasons for clothes. Many of these clothes bought in one season would not be in demand in later seasons because they would no longer be in fashion. Fashion and taste may be influenced by social changes. For example, in recent years, millions of people have developed a keen interest in social media. Social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat have seen a huge increase in demand since their launch. So when we talk about fashion and taste, we're talking about things that are trending, things that are, things that people want to buy right now. Just like clothes. The clothes of 5 years ago is not going to be the one that is trending now. So things change over time. So as soon as things change over time, the demand for goods and services also change. So consumers' taste changes, consumers' preferences changes. And as soon as they change, the demand for what they want right now will change. So old-fashioned goods, their demand will fall, shifting the demand curve leftward. New fashion goods that are trending, their demand will rise, shifting the demand curve rightward. Is it clear? Go to price of substitutes. When we talk about price of substitutes, we're talking about goods that are in the same market, competitive, goods that are in the same competition, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Are you with me? So if the price of Coca-Cola rises in relative to that of Pepsi, so the demand for Pepsi would rise because the price of Pepsi does not change as the price of Coca-Cola changes. Do you get the point here? So if the price of Coca-Cola changes and Pepsi does not change, the demand for Coca-Cola would reduce, shifting the demand curve for Coca-Cola leftward from Q1 to Q3 and D1 to D3. At that point in time, the demand for Pepsi would rise. The quantity demanded for Pepsi would rise from Q1 to Q2, shifting the demand curve rightward from D1 to D2. That is price of substitute. It is not the same as price. Price will bring about movement, but price of substitute will bring about shift. Is it clear? Yes. We go to demographic changes. Are you there?
Price of
complementary, sorry. Price of complement. When you talk about complement, we're talking about goods that we use together with another goods, like laptop and charger, phone and their pouch. Do you understand? So if the price of phones, for example, if the price of phones reduces, the demand for phone pouch will increase. Do you understand? As a result, the demand curve will shift rightward for pouch. Is it clear? That is about it. And if the price of phones increases, the demand for phone chargers or pouch will reduce, shifting the demand curve leftward. Is it clear? Yes. We go to demographic changes. Are you there? Yes. For demographic changes, I'm going to read. Clearly, as the world's population grows, there will be an increase in demand for goods and services. However, demand will also be affected by structure of the population as well as its size. That's what we call demography. As soon as population increases, the demand for goods and services would also increase. So these are patterns so based on the population. So we have different population, we have different age group. We have females, we have males, we have younger people, we have old people, we have middle-aged people. So the demand for goods and services will also change according to these demographics. We call it demographic. Is it clear? Yes. So we start with the age distribution. The age distribution of the population is the number of people who fall into different age groups or categories. So we call it age distribution based on from 0 to 5 years, from 7 years to 20 or to 13 years, from 14 years to 20 years. These are age category or age distribution. So based on this reason, the demand for goods and services would increase or decrease based on age distribution. Middle-aged people, their demand for For middle-aged people like me, we talk about house, we talk about cars, we talk about children education. This is what we spend on. So the demand for children education, the demand for house, the demand for car would increase for us. That is because I'm a middle-aged person. For old people, the demand for healthcare would increase. For younger people like you, the demand for maybe phones,
Yes.
books will increase. Is it clear?
Yes.
In some countries, in the population overall, there are more women than men, and there are many more women than men in older age groups. Consequently, the gender distribution of the population is likely to affect demand patterns. For example, there will be a greater demand for women's clothes than men's clothes, particularly in older age group. So here they're talking about old age women and old aged men. So there are more old age women than more old age men. As a result, the demand for clothes for women for old age would increase than demand for men. Is it clear?
Yes.
That's about age distribution, gender distribution, sorry, gender. Then we have geographical distribution. For geographical, we're talking about the movement of people from one area to another. So here they wrote, the geographical distribution may affect demand. Increasingly, in most developed and developing countries, more and more people live in urban areas. As a result, demand for schools and hospitals in urban areas will be higher than in rural areas. So here we're talking about geographical distribution. So people move from rural areas to urban, like in the city now. A lot of people are in Tripoli. So because a lot of people are in Tripoli, the demand for schools, education in Tripoli and healthcare would increase. Is it clear? Any question about that? Many countries have ethnic groups in the population structure. If these ethnic groups grow in size, there's likely to be an increase in demand for products associated with their culture. So they are making an example. Let's use the example like the Nigerian community here. If there are a lot of Nigerians here, the demand for Nigerian foods will increase,
Yes.
shifting the demand curve rightward. If we reduce, if there are less people, less Nigerians here, the demand for Nigerian goods and services would fall, shifting the demand curve leftward. Is it clear?
Yes.
We have the case study. Are you there?
Yes.
Multiple choice question, sorry. Cars and petrol are example of which goods? Cars and petrol. Cars and petrol.
B.
Complementary goods, good.
Yes.
Always look at it very well, please, before you answer. Always look at it. That's how economics is. Economics is trickish.
Yes.
So look at it very well before you choose your answer. Because I will not be there in your exams.
Yes.
Okay. Question 2. A rise in, so the answer is B. Question 2. A rise in the price of car insurance may have which effect? A rise in the price of car insurance may have which effect? What's the answer?
Not checked. C and D is not that.
No.
One of them.
Yes. They said a rise in the price of car insurance.
Shift left.
To shift because car insurance will affect. They said, look, the rise in the price of car insurance may affect which effect. Car insurance is not something you just buy. It's a complementary.
Yes.
Without you having a car, you don't talk about car insurance. Yes or no?
Yes.
So that means the demand for car insurance would increase if the price of cars reduces.
Yes.
Do you get it? If the price of car insurance increases, the demand for car would fall, shifting the demand curve leftward.
The fall of the demand will lead to shift the
demand. If there's a rise in the price of car insurance,
yes,
the demand for car would reduce because car insurance is a complement to car.
yes.
Do you understand? It will shift the supply curve leftward. The supply curve, it will shift the demand for cars. Sorry, not supply, demand. It will shift the demand curve for cars to the left.
Yes.
Do you get it? So the answer is C. C.
C, yes.
Okay. So that ends chapter 4, the demand factors that affect the demand curve, right?
Yes.
Thank you.